Hey guys, this is Cam315 back at it with another video for you guys, and I am back with another Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest manga chapter review. This is chapter 84 titled "In Icy Fantasy." Man, was this chapter good or what? We get at the start to the rematch between Gray and Hakune, but man, this episode of your this episode, my god. This chapter hits you in all sorts of the feels with what they went into backs or Gray's back, well, not backstories, but of what would have happened if most of the characters from his past, like his dad or an Ultir, all were still alive to this very day, and there was a future, which we all know there's gonna be a future with Juvia, where he's obviously as a kid, again, which Mashima hinted again with maybe I guess Fairy Tale the Next Generation, if we ever get to see a series like that, and stuff like that. But yeah, let's talk about it now. The title page, if you guys want to know, is obviously a title page of Juvia with her Gray plushie. And she's cooking something, and I guess the thing says the sugar content is maximum love, so have a taste. She's wearing a very nice outfit with booty shorts, and she obviously looks like she's cooking something. But anyways, other than focusing on Juvia and how good she looks, because we all know how sexy Juvia looks, we continue on with this chapter. This time focusing from the Lucy Mimi battle now to the Gray Hakune battle and stuff like that. Wendy is still healing Natsu and Urza, and all of a sudden the people in village like the elder is talking about how cold it's gotten and stuff like that. And now obviously Ferris is like, could this also be the result of the magic swelling? But Wendy replies to say no, could this be an effect of both Gray and the enemy's powers, which essentially makes sense because they're two ice wizards. Well, of course it wouldn't be cold. Now Gray continues to launch more ice make attacks, but obviously Hakune's freezing them before it even touches her and stuff like that. And Hakune kind of replies by saying, did I not tell you already what I freeze is magic power itself? And when it looks like she's going to try to freeze Gray frozen solid again like last time, Gray transforms into his devil or his demon slaying form, his demon ice slaying form. And that's when she starts to go on the offensive, and it kind of throws Hakune off her game. Eventually, she manages to take off her robe, and she transforms into that crystallized, ice, self. And she's like, I see you change your magic power to have my freezing spirit art. Then let us dispense with such such tricks. Now, Hakune does this move called Snow Wave, which I'm guessing is going to try to overpower and I guess cover up Gray, but Gray manages to block it and freeze it, and that's when he goes and he's about to he launches an attack of an Ice Devil Zeroth Destruction Blow, but then that freezes just before it hits Hakune. Now Hakune kind of replies by saying, to be able to freeze each other's techniques, I must say you're quite the troublesome opponent. And Gray kind of replies back. Now this one, Mimi does this one attack where she's like, however, I know what your weakness is. And she goes on to say, go on, go to sleep, wrapped in a world of whiteness. And she says that phrase again, but this time she says, sleep in the light of snow. And that's when Gray starts to get all dizzy, and then eventually it gets to the point where he passes out. Now when Gray wakes up, we see Gray and what we later see, which is a whole complete dream sequence. And he wakes up in this bed, he sees Juvia, and Juvia's like, oh, Gray-sama, yada, 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 and stuff like that. And that's when we see the next thing. It's funny because Gray makes a mention about Hakune. He's like, where's that snowman? And then obviously Juvia's like, snow woman, who the hell are you talking about? And stuff like that. But then that's when we see again another somewhat callback to obviously what happened in what we saw in Edalus, and then a little bit of what Mashima, the little, I guess you can say, homage to the character drawing of Mashima when it comes to Gray and Juvia's kid or their son. And we see Grage yet again here in this dream sequence and stuff like that. And it's funny because Juvia's like, oh, Grage, mommy and daddy were not doing anything dirty. I trust and believe we weren't, and stuff like that. And Grace's like, mommy and daddy, what the hell is going on here? And stuff like that. Again, it's an adorable scene where obviously you have Grage just say, hey, daddy, and stuff like that. And obviously, Gray internally, he's thinking, he's like, this crazy witch is showing me a freaking illusion. It's got to be a dream and stuff like that. Now, Grage kind of pulls Gray along. He's like, everyone's here, and he's like, everyone. And then that's when we see Ultir. We see Ultir and Silver, Gray's dad, and stuff like that. Now, Silver kind of replies, and this is, I think, the first appearance with, Silver we've seen since, I believe, the Tartarus arc. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me in the comment section, and stuff like that. And again, this is the last time we kind of seen Ultir. I don't remember when the last time we seen Ultir. I think it wasn't too long ago with the time stuff. I don't remember. I don't remember much of the past chapters because I usually when I read the past chapters of 100 Year Quest. But again, correct me when Ultra was last seen in the series. Now Silver replies by saying, you weren't planning on sleeping all day, weren't you, Gray, and stuff like that. And obviously, you have Gray's like grandpa and stuff like that, and obviously Auntie Ultir and things like that. And it's like, Gray's like, bro, this is a freaking dream. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy, and stuff like that. And, you have Grage kind of hug up on, Ultir and stuff like that. It's funny because Grage calls Ultir Auntie Ultir, but Juvia for some reason, like, you mean big sis. I think that's Ultir that says you mean big sis. But technically, I see Ultir again when I'm gonna talk about my Gray discussion in a bit. Ultir to me is more like a older sister to Gray, than I guess you can say motherly figure, something like that. So yeah. Then obviously that's when you hear a mysterious character say, aren't you a little, big, too old for this big sister thing? And then that's when Ultra replies saying, look who's talking, mother. When are you going to dress younger than your age? And then that's when we see Or. And this is honestly a first where we see adult Ultir interacting with obviously her mother Or. And again, when I was reading this for the first time, I was like, my heart hurts. Why does Mashima have to do this? Why? Because this could have probably happened if she never was taken, if she never felt jealous of, or what she thought of, if Ultra never thought her mother moved on from her and stuff like that, and things like that. They kind of give a nice snarky comment. Or responds to Ultir's, talk saying, I'm young and that's a fact. And Ultir kind of responds to that saying, even though you already have such a big daughter. And Gray's like, this is a dream, this is a dream, this is a dream, and stuff like that. Now, the reason why they're all gathered there, because they're like, hey, it's your birthday, Gray, and stuff like that. Listen, we gotta freaking handle this. Now, it's funny because Silver's like, Ultir, you got a certain special someone. And obviously Ultra's like, excuse me, but why are you pestering me, uncle? Which is kind of weird. So, okay. Now Gray's like, this is a dream, this is a dream, this is a dream, and stuff like that. And you just see where everybody, all essentially very influential people in his life, are all there just looking like they're having a good time. And he's just over there kind of like, this is a dream. Now, Juvia's kind of responding. She's like, but it's fine for you to stay here forever. This blissful moment, forever and always. And you just have Gray kind of breaking down here, and he's like, I want to be here. I want to have this life, but I can't because I know it's not real and stuff like that. And Gray's like, This is the world of happiness I imagined, but it's wrong. It's wrong. And then that's when Grace breaks through the ice, and the chapter ends off with Hakune shocked that Gray broke out of her technique. The Mugen Six Sugeka has been broken. And essentially, that's when Gray's like, I don't want to be happy. I want to make Juvia happy. And that's where the chapter ends off. And, man, can I just say this, man? Our boy Gray has really come a long way. This chapter did hit the feels because, again, Silver, his father. We didn't really see his mother in this chapter, although I wish they had put his mother in this chapter. But the reason why they probably didn't show his mother in this chapter because we really didn't know his mother, and his mother was never in the original series. We have only heard about his mother and then the fact that they died, and stuff like that. But we never saw that. But we saw essentially the most influential characters in Gray's life: his father Silver, his master / motherly figure in Or. His, I guess you can say, an older sister-like character for him in Ultir. Obviously Juvia, and then Gray has yet to be conceived. Whenever Gray and Juvia eventually get it on, and they eventually want to have when they have their child, and stuff like that. And it's just very emotional because for one, all these people sacrificed their life, for Gray, with the exception of Juvia being the exception because she ended up living in the final season, part of the Alvarez Empire arc, even though it looked like she sacrificed her life for Gray. But regardless, you still can consider that a sacrifice and stuff like that. And again, to see how far Gray has come to the point where I remember when he first met Juvia, he wanted nothing to, or when Juvia first joined Fairy Tail, he wanted nothing to do with her. And then slowly as time progressed over the many seasons and arcs of Fairy Tail, you got to see a different side of Gray where he started to open up a bit more to Juvia, and he was more accepted and more willing, of obviously the fact that she's kind of dependent on him and she's kind of lovesick about him. And there is parts where, Juvia does get serious with him. Like, for example, the end of the Tartarus arc when they had the one serious moment when he cried in her arms saying, thank you for saving my dad, like that, and stuff like that. And I like the fact that, they really put an emphasis in one of your quests that eventually Gray is going to confess that he has feelings for Juvia. Like, we already know at this point in time, if Gray was going to reject his feelings towards Juvia in the past seasons, yes, we would have believed it. But I think here, we definitely do know that Gray has feelings for Juvia and that he does love and he cares for Juvia. And he wants to make Juvia as happy as she can be, and stuff like that. And if that's by him just being there for and if that's by him being there for her to make her happy, that's what he's going to freaking do. And I really do like the whole fact how that's the number one person in his life, because let's be honest, like I mentioned, Silver's gone, Or's gone, Ultir's gone. Who's the one person after all his major sacrifices that's been there through each in the thick and the thin, his most heartbreaking moments? Who has been mostly the person that has kind of been there as a person to lean on, a shoulder to cry on? And that's been Juvia. And we've seen their relationship grow, the fact that, Juvia's been there and she's that person that's going to be there for Gray. Despite how she acts, she knows when Gray's obviously, and sad or obviously there, she's going to be there for him. Like, again, I like the moments, even though it's funny to see the moment with Juvia go lovesick over him. I do really like the moments where Gray and Juvia do have those heartfelt moments. Like, an example, after the Grand Magic Games, since Gray was so shooken up about the Ultir death and stuff like that, obviously Juvia was the person there is like, hey, look, I understand, like, you must be going through something, but at least the least you can do for your fellow guildmates is at least have a smile on your face and feel good that we came back victorious after winning the Grand Magic Games and stuff like that. And I really do appreciate Gray's character growth in this. Like, it was a nice scene where they bring back very influential characters in Gray's past to the point where he's like, and I love the part where you have him in this chapter say like, I really do want this. I really wish I could have my dad, my master, and my sisterly figure slash friend, mostly sister, in my life again. I wish they were all alive, because this would probably more than likely be, my life if everybody in my life just stayed alive and they never sacrificed themselves. Along the fact that I have Juvia too, as well as having a kid. I want this life. I want all of this, but I know I can't have this life because this wouldn't make me happy. This would, just kind of be for my own selfish desires. I want to, not only, I'm not saying like he doesn't want to make himself happy, but I feel like he's happy I feel like he's happy knowing that Juvia is happy, and obviously he knows like, well, if I need somebody to cry a shoulder on, I not only can go to my friends, but I really need somebody, I can go to Juvia. And I just want to do the best thing in my interest to make her happy. And yeah, but very huge character growth from Gray. It was also pretty cool to see that Hakune actually can get affected by Gray's ice demon slaying magic a bit, although Gray's still gonna have to find something to prevent Hakune from freezing his attacks and stuff like that. But I did like the fact that demon slaying magic actually helped him a bit better in this fight against Hakune. So I'm guessing more than likely the next chapter is going to wrap up this Hakune fight, because it's similarly the Lucy fight. The first chapter in this Lucy versus Mimi rematch, you see that, and then the next chapter, that's when you kind of get the conclusion. So that's what we're probably going to get, Gray finishing Hakune off and beating her. So yeah, but I thought this chapter was really good. Very much enjoyed it. I read it late last night and I enjoyed it. It was just a great chapter. But other than that, that's kind of it. So if you guys liked the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode. I keep saying episode. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Eventually, we'll get a Fairy Tail 100-year quest anime some line in the future, and everybody who hates Fairy Tail is gonna be in their feelings because they realize, oh shit, Fairy Tail's back. Why would they bring this trash-ass show? Even though Fairy Tail isn't really that bad, I think people just criticize it heavily because Fairy Tail's one of those popular animes that people like to hate. But it's okay. Guess what? You hate it. You're just talking more about Fairy Tail. So guess what? Screw the haters. Right? Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night, or when sharing lots of video. Until then, guys, I'll see you guys for the next Fairy Tail manga chapter review. Till then, guys, have a great, safe day. Peace.